The #1 cause of WordPress sites being hacked is because people don't update them to the latest version of the software. So when you are in your WordPress dashboard and you're blogging or you're moderating comments, right, or you're changing settings, just glance at the top of the screen. And if you see this update icon, do it. Please update your software. For those of you who don't know, there is a major release of WordPress that happens 2 to 3 times a year, depending on the release schedule. And that's the 3.3, 3.4, 3.5 is scheduled to come out sometime in December, I believe. And then whenever there are massive bugs or vulnerabilities that are discovered, there are point releases. So I installed 3.4.1 on purpose so that I could show you guys what the upgrade looks like. And now I'm going to update to 3.4.2. So I click on the little update guide here at the top.
Isn't that little circle, isn't that also, if you have plugins, won't that be a higher number? That's that number.
Anything that can be updated, you'll see here. First thing is, updated version of WordPress is available. That's priority 1. We need to update WordPress. Okay? Then we also have plugins, which we'll get to in a little bit. Plugins, if they have updates, they'll show here as well. And the same thing with themes that you have installed from the official repository. If you have a theme installed, it'll say, hey, there's an update to this theme available. Maybe it fixes a bug with it or it fixes some kind of security problem, but we want to go ahead and update that. And there actually is like a button, if you have more than one thing to do, there's a button that says upgrade everything. Okay? So we're just going to, and this is the nice thing, once you've got WordPress installed, I said update, done. I'm on the latest version of WordPress. That wasn't hard, right? Okay. So, and then when you update to a new version, it says, hey, here's all the new stuff that we added to WordPress while you were gone. So 3.4.1 addresses security issues and fixed 20 more bugs. More information, go there. 3.4.2, security issues, 20 bugs. For more information, go there. So this just tells you very quickly, and then here's some of the other stuff that was added in 3.4. Live theme previews, custom headers, this stuff is, we're not going to talk about this right now, because we're not there yet. But you get this great screen that is just like the welcome screen when you start WordPress that tells you, here's all the new stuff, right? Because it's not, most people are not paying attention to WordPress development talk and knowing, hey, this is what everybody's working on. So instead, when you update the software, the development team gives you this nice overview. Here's the new stuff for you. Here's some nifty features that we've been working on the last 4 to 6 months. We just like you to know about this stuff. So now I have a fully updated to WordPress 3.4.2 website. Okay? So this is what we call the dashboard, which is where you do your stuff. This is where you write. This is where you change settings. The front page of your site, by default, looks like this. So we have, you might recognize, here's the site title that I picked before. It's my last WordPress site. It's just another WordPress site. That's what we call tagline. We'll talk about changing that. Question number 1. We got a header image, got a little menu, and then we actually have a little default post that goes in down here. It just says, hello, world. Welcome to WordPress. Okay? It even has a sample comment, which is really neat. Okay, I want to stop right there before we get to settings. Just ask, does anybody have any questions about basic setup, upgrading, which we'll talk about again later.
I can understand if you want to answer this now, but I can't stand when it says howdy. Is there a way to change that?
No.
Oh, God. You told me there was.
Matt Mullenweg, my boss, and the founder of the WordPress project is Texan. So,
Don't tell us.
Howdy is kind of a WordPressism. It's always been there and it will always be there. It's kind of fun.
It just felt weird.
Just picture a Texan saying it to you.
How do you put your picture on there?
We'll get to that a little bit
Okay.
later.
Okay.
We'll talk about some basic stuff like that a little bit as we go here. So,
Okay.
Is there anything you should think about when picking a hosting company?
Don't let go, Daddy.
By and large, the hosting companies are interchangeable at this point. It's really a commodity service now. You're generally going to be paying, if you're just looking to set up a basic website, you don't think it's going to be a huge traffic impactor, and you want to get started. Most of the hosts are career hosts, and those are going to run you about $100 to $120 a year. somewhere in that range.
Can you swap your site?
You can move a site from host to host, but in general, it takes a little bit more technical knowledge, or some hosts actually have staff that will help you move the site if it's somewhere else. But if you want to move a site from host to host, you can do it. It's actually quite easy to get an export of your content, and then move it, and then import the content to the new site. WordPress is entirely movable. It's not, once you pick a host and you install WordPress, you're not like married to that host forever. So let's kind of get cozy and settle in with WordPress, and we're just going to talk about some basic settings that you probably are going to want to change when you get into WordPress right away. And so you'll see down here, the dashboard is set up in such a way that you have kind of the content, or like things that are brought to your attention based on where you are on the right side, and you have navigation on the left side. And you'll see the things that you can change in the navigation. You get your dashboard, which is kind of like one view, everything going on. Then you have your posts, your media, links that you set up, which actually will be going away soon. Pages, which we'll talk about a little bit later. Comments, and actually moderating those comments as well. And then down here are kind of more site-wide settings. Change the appearance of your site, add or change plugins, change the users on your site, some basic tools for importing, exporting, and then we'll change settings. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to go to change settings, because we have that question that I talked about when we went to the site, how to change the tagline. It's in Settings General, right there. And the site title is right above it. This is usually question number one when somebody sets up a WordPress site. Where is this thing? So if you want to change the tagline, right? Change the tagline. If you want to change the email address that's used for admin purposes, it's in here too. And most of this other stuff, we're just going to ignore this for right now. This is stuff you can get into later when you've been using WordPress. We just kind of want to go over the very, very basics. And the other thing I want to show you is down here in privacy. This is where you can change whether or not search engines can index your site. So if you turned it off when you set up your site, and now you're all set, I've got kind of my basic content ready to go. I want Google to find me. And you turn it on here. Next most important part about WordPress. Writing stuff. Okay? This is a platform for writing stuff, so let's talk about doing that. Writing is generally done with what we call posts. Okay? A post is a single entry in your website, and it has a date and a time, and on either the front page of your blog or the blog page of your blog, depending on how you have it set up, your posts will display in reverse chronological order. The newest will be at the top of the page, on down. And you can set how many of them per page, and people can flip back and forth. So they can read order updates if they want to. So if we want to add a post, then we just go to Add New. And now we have the Add New Post screen. Important stuff you need to know here. Title goes up here at the top. Content of the post goes down here at the bottom. And that's the basics you need to know to get a post up on a WordPress site. You just need to say, this is my new post. And you'll see that the editor is what we call right now it's set to what we call the visual editor, which is where most of you will do your post editing and changing. The visual editor just means that when you type in here, the changes will be reflected in a way that tries as far as possible to mimic what it will look like when you put it on your site. So it's called visual. So you have basic controls here. You can bold. You can select things just like you're working in Microsoft Word or the WordPress in the text edit program. You can highlight text and you can change it. You can say, oh, this is I want to italicize this. Or maybe, not the first time, maybe it's the second time. Right. You can also add lists. And just like with WordPress, a double return at the end changes out the bullet list or to a paragraph. Okay. So the tools and the switches that are here will not look uncommon to you if you've had experience editing text in most desktop applications. It's designed to look like that so that it's easy for you to take a look and insert your content. You can also do a block quote. You can change the alignment left, center, or right. And you can see that it changes as I make that change. You can add a link using, so I've highlighted some text and I've got this little chain thing. And this is one of the basics of the internet. So I want, when somebody clicks on this, I want them to go to WordPress.org. And now you see that it's changed to a link color. When I publish my post, somebody clicks on the word WordPress, they're going to be taken to WordPress.org.
I do some work using constant context email system. I always do it all my writing in Word, and then I go copy and paste.
Yeah.
Then I have to change all that to text, otherwise it copies all the word code in the constant context. Do you have any problem like that with this?
Oh, dear. I'm going to show you this button on the other end here. Right? We call this the kitchen sink. Okay? So the kind of basics for editing are in this top row. It's all most people need. However, there is the kitchen sink. So we click that and we get some additional controls, including underlining, full justification. One of those is this little button that is paste from Word. So if you copy something out of Word and you want to put it into your blog post, you put it in here, and WordPress will do the best it can to strip out all the unnecessary code that Word adds to everything that you copy out.
Would you be better off just doing more in text, in a text program?
Actually, if you go to Notepad,
Yeah, you could do that too. You can paste it into a text program and then move it. The text program will generally ignore anything that's not part of it. But if you want to copy from Word and paste right in, you can do that right here. Or if you want to change it to plain text, there's also this. This is just paste this. This is paste this plain text.
Okay.
So these are two options that some people don't see because they're under the kitchen sink. Go under the kitchen sink. There's neat stuff down here.
Can I do that in Word? I often write in Word Market, and I do the same thing.
I don't know what WordPerfect will do with this. WordPerfect is kind of unpredictable. But in general, if you were having problems with, if you put something in here and you take a look at it or you preview it, and the formatting is all over the place, the first place you should go are these two buttons and paste it there instead. And then you can kind of change it after you get it. After you get it in, you can kind of add things to it. But it will remove a lot of the extra formatting that Word has.
The eraser helps too sometimes when you're copy and pasting the small notes.
The eraser will, so maybe I don't like this and I want to remove all the formatting, then it gets rid of all the excess stuff. So, let's say I'm very, very happy with this post. This is just because it's something basic that we want to do to show you how it works. So now we kind of make some choices. Actually, you know what? I'm not going to bother with that. Categories and stuff like that, you need to like tags, or where's that? Tags are little words that will be linked at the bottom of the post. That when somebody clicks on them, they will see other posts on your blog or your website that have the same tag. The other thing that they're beneficial for generally is search engines will look at the tags and go, ooh, tags. And they'll use them for topical relevance. So if I want to add tags to this, you want to say, WordPress, brand new, and add. And now these tags have been added to my post.
You separate that with a comma.
Separated with commas. And there's
That's right.
there's a little reminder right here.
That's right.
Or you can enter them one at a time. Either way.
I'll move fills too.
You
If you have other ones in there. Doesn't it autofill?
It will autofill once you have text. It'll suggest, like you start typing and stuff, oh, you meant this. Oh, okay. Yeah, I did.
is there a way, let's say I'm typing a post and I want to save it as a draft. I noticed the other night it didn't save my tags.
That's probably something it's a problem. Somebody has to look at it. So, because those are your options here, and then you go to publish. When you go to publish a post, publishing is the act of I want this on my website. I want it live.